Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. I am Chris Gore. This is Film Threat. This is our live cast. We are live on YouTube, Rumble, and maybe Kick. I don't know. We'll see. Today on the show, we're talking about a lot of stuff today. We're going to talk about the fate of Indiana Jones and the Indiana Jones franchise. We'll also be talking about a new comedy, a raunchy comedy called Joyride. Cannot wait to discuss that with you. Also, the new Insidious movie, The Red Door, is in theaters. And the directors of two indie films opening this weekend, The Crusades, a teen comedy, and Biosphere, which is an indie science fiction movie starring Mark Duplass and Sterling K. Brown. The director, Mel Eslyn, will be here today. The director of The Crusades will be here today. Alan is also here today, and he has a very good chair. At least that's what he told me before we started the show. All right, let's get going. Let's discuss it all. So much to talk about. And I'm not gonna lie. I'm pre-coffee right now. I'm pre-coffee, and it's tough. It's tough for me at the moment. Oh man, he's still not here. Oh God. All right. Where's Alan?
Alan!
There you are, man. What's going on?
You are the greatest actor.
I'm a terrible actor. I'm a terrible. What's that?
And you're the one with the SAG card, really.
Okay. By the way, that dinging noise was all over the last show. You got to turn off your notifications.
Yeah.
But before we do that, let's see who's here in the comments and the chat. Let's see. We already have a super chat from Enrico Palazzo for 5. Did Steven Spielberg model Ben Mendelsohn's character in Ready Player One after Kathleen Kennedy and/or Bob Iger? Well, that character was in the book. I am not a fan of Ready Player One, the movie. I really enjoyed the book. I thought the book was great. Really clever, fun, interesting story, sort of Willy Wonka, in a pop culture bizarre land. But the movie was a colossal disappointment. I don't know, but I will say that I miss the days when the corporate overlords were the bad guys in movies. Now it's not so much. That might have been the last instance of that in a notable major film. So there you go. All right. Thank you for that, Enrico. Zavin says, good morning. I am excited to hear speculation about KK's eventual quiet exit. And Red Dave, thank Crunchy, it's Friday. Good morning, Film Threat people, says Imperfect. And Shucksy says, Alan. Leo Cody, hey, Leo. Leo creates a lot of those graphics you see in the community tab and sometimes on Instagram. Thank you, Leo. And also a lot of videos. Leo killing it with the videos. Hey, Chris. Hey, Alan. Alan, I saw a gaming chair on Amazon that is something like a seatbelt. You might want to get one. What are your thoughts?
Is the seatbelt really going to help me?
I don't know. And Sifax, hey, AJ. Hail, Chris and Alan. Film Threat's always a good way to start the Fridays off right. And Mike MC Wong. Hey, Mike. Hi, y'all. PS5 reacquired from sister yesterday. Guaranteed 4K tomorrow night. And we watched Raiders last Saturday with Chris and did not see Crunchy Bush. That's because I have a theory about this. They changed it. They changed it to digital.
Yeah, they did that.
They do stuff like that. They will play with the levels of light in certain areas. You can dramatically, it's called color timing. You can dramatically change a movie with the color timing.
They went through all that trouble to put it in the movie. Why would they go through all that trouble to take it out of the movie?
Well, there you go. Eric Henson says late means Chris had his coffee, right? No, Wes Ray, who's a member, thank you. Big horror fan, but I bailed on the Insidious franchise after part 2. I like the actors involved, but the franchise just didn't hold my interest. I much prefer Sinister or The Conjuring. There you go. Brock Samsonite, Chris is pulling a Gary. Oh no, it was only 5 minutes ish. 5 minutes? How late was I?
Roughly, yeah.
All right. Imperfect says my bootleg copy totally has the crunchy bush. Look, you can go. Filmmakers routinely change these things. I mean, did you see the recut and re-sound mix of Superman? Richard Donner oversaw that project.
Yeah,
I don't.
mean, what inappropriate sound in that movie did they take out?
Well, here's what they did. They changed a bunch of little things that weren't even a problem. I think a lot of that was to change it with regard to rights, but they added whoosh sounds when Superman would fly places that weren't in the original cut.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the original cut and audio so well that it bothered me. It just bothered me. But yeah, Imperfect. Thank you for that. I would say go to mrskin.com and you will you're going to see, just look up Karen Allen. Lori Ormond, Threat Level 2, has been a member for 3 months and says, I love waking up with a bowl of Crunchy Beavers cereal, now with more crunch. See? Somebody check the community tab on Film Threat. If you check the community tab on Film Threat, you're going to see something. Blame Leo Cody.
Yeah. Honestly, I prefer more beaver than crunch.
Always with the straight lines, Alan. Always with the straight lines. Bill S. Preston, Esquire, did Spielberg replace her bush with a flashlight? That I don't know. Really don't know. And I guess, you know what? We were live on Kick for like a minute, and now we're not. So there you go. There you go.
We literally signed up yesterday, and we're figuring it out.
We're figuring it out. All right. So real quick. Oh, a quick super chat just came in here. Thoughts on In Bruges? Big fan of that movie. Says ban Brindlebeard 3 for $1.99. Love that film. Love that film, In Bruges. The chemistry between Colin Farrell and oh my god, I haven't had coffee yet.
Brendan
I'm not
Gleeson.
able to name any actors, but yeah,
Brendan Gleeson.
Awesome. In Bruges is really good.
Yeah, I only understood half that movie.
Hey, this is why I actually do like watching things with the subtitles, with the closed captioning. I like it on.
So by the way, there was a note on Kick that we need. We only have 2 subscribers on there so far. If a few of you could go over there and subscribe, that would help us out.
All right, well let's do that. All right, Alan, real quick, you saw the new Secret Invasion. And you had some thoughts. So before we talk about the films today, this is a busy show today. Let's get into it. Alan, we want to hear what you think of Secret Invasion.
Yes. So I watched Secret Invasion episode 3. So I saw Secret Invasion episode 3, just to see how if it could possibly get worse, and it does. First of all, let me just state it. This is the worst Disney Marvel television show there, and I would gladly watch She-Hulk again over watching Secret Invasion. So we've talked about several things. The thing that comes out in this episode is unintentional, but stick with me here. You're gonna have to think about this one for a moment. So midway through the episode, we find a little bit about Talos and Nick Fury and their background, the beginnings at S.H.I.E.L.D., and what the discussion comes about, and what it reveals is that when Nick Fury was hired, the only way that he was able to rise up in the ranks of S.H.I.E.L.D. was because of Talos. So let's think about this for a moment. The reason Nick Fury was able to rise up through the ranks of S.H.I.E.L.D. was because a group of Skrulls were in the background helping him out. Okay, so let's bring this to today, because this is for modern times. But let's see. So they hired Nick Fury. We've already established in the first 2 episodes that he's kind of an affirmative action hire. And apparently he couldn't do the job, so he needed Skrulls in the background to help him out. And then in the middle of this episode, Talos basically makes Nick Fury his bitch and tells him, "You need to thank me." And in the most aggressive manner possible, Talos basically stares him down with a mean voice, arm on his shoulder, and says, "You need to thank me or I'm gone." And Nick Fury caves in and thanks Talos for everything he's done. This is episode 3 of Secret Invasion. The great Nick Fury is a Skrull bitch.
Well, I'm first of all, I'm not surprised, because for some reason they brought race into this where it seems completely unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Nick Fury, at the time that Secret Invasion comes out, which is present day, at least in the Marvel universe, which I believe we're in the year 2025. He should have earned everyone's respect, you would think, but that's clearly not the case.
Yeah.
And I just, after those 2 episodes, I kind of pieced out. Maybe I'll watch it. Maybe I'll just binge it right before the final episode, so we can discuss the series. So I'm kind of surprised you actually did watch the 3rd episode.
Well, I mean, it's like with what they present in the first 2 episodes, my curiosity was just like, how worse can it get? And I don't think this was intentional. I don't think they're trying to make an affirmative action statement, but this is the thing they did. This is the implication of it. And I've got to say also, the acting in this show across the board is just horrible. No, everyone looks like they're phoning it in. Like, no one really cares about their characters, or, Ben Mendelsohn, is that who that is? He's over emoting as Talos. Emilia Clarke, honestly, she's supposed to be this kind of kick-ass Skrull. She doesn't look like that. She looks like a small woman who doesn't really know what's going on. And there's a motorcycle stunt that is not a stunt. And, it's like, then there's all these inconsistencies, because, Skrulls are shapeshifters. So why does their clothes shift as well as their body? And then there's a part where one Skrull is tailing another Skrull. That should be an easy escape. All you have to do is shapeshift into another person, and you can easily escape. But it's like there's just not a lot of thought. You know that the writers here have not read a comic book and don't understand Skrulls. And spoiler alert, end of episode 2, we find out Nick Fury has a wife, and now we find out that the wife is a Skrull. I mean, she was always a Skrull. They just fell in love. And then this episode introduces the Super Skrulls, and that's kind of what is going on here. Is the Skrulls are now are trying to power themselves, and that's this episode. I mean, this is just again, I would watch any of the other Marvel stuff over this thing.
Yeah, I'm not interested. I think I'm going to take a pass on this, but we may talk about it when the series wraps up. Only 3 more episodes left.
Yay.
Only 3 more.
Yay. Even Olivia Colman is phoning this in.
Yeah, I felt that way from the actors. It felt like they were phoning it in. All right, Alan. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that amazing report. Does anyone notice that in the background of that video, there's like a plunger? There's a hidden plunger in it.
Well, the question is, do people even remember the plunger?
I was going to say, if people have been watching this show long enough, they'll know what plungers mean. There's a secret meaning to the plungers. So there you go. All right. Now it's my turn. A freaking IKEA chair. All right, we got to talk about where does the Indiana Jones franchise go next? And it's going to be a very, very simple answer. I will just tell you right off the bat, nowhere. I think the film has turned out to be a colossal disappointment. I mean, the second time I saw it, which was last Thursday, it made me sad to see it. This is kind of how they see a lot of the male characters, and it's just bizarre. And what they've done also is basically shield themselves from any criticism. Okay, I get that feeling that that's where we are. But let's talk about like Kathleen Kennedy in this. Her role in this. There just seem to be recurring themes in all of the franchises that she has shepherded. And here we are now with 3 franchises. The Willow series was very poorly received and is now been taken off of Disney Plus. Now, the reason I would speculate for that to happen is mainly because you're going to have to pay people. If something is showing, actors get residuals, directors get profits. If a series is alive and out there, there is money that's being dispensed.
Yeah, actually, I think it's a different reason. I think they're selling it for syndication.
Oh,
so
and that's
they can sell it to another channel,
so they can monetize it. But whenever
Exactly.
you see something go away, it's specifically for financial reasons.
They can't make money on it being Disney Plus, so they'll make money on it being on somewhere else, some other platform.
When you look at Star Wars and where the Star Wars franchise is, sure, they announced 3 movies. The Rey movie is supposed to begin production in 2024 April, and I don't really expect that is going to go anywhere. I actually expect before that happens, there'll be some delays. There'll be it has to go through more development, etc. You will hear innocuous reasons for the new Star Wars movie starring Daisy Ridley they're just going to kick the can effectively. And Indiana Jones, with 1 film, they have buried the franchise. Now, what's interesting is there is still what this new Indiana Jones movie did was effectively stir up interest in the older films. I went back and rewatched Temple of Doom and the original Raiders, which I watch that movie maybe once a year, just because it's a fun movie. But it in contrast, when you're looking at the older Indiana Jones films, it's just so clear with what they've done with the character, how bad it is. And the criticism that you'll see of this new film is a lot. Well, people just don't like Phoebe Waller-Bridge. They don't like her. She's a strong female lead, and the fans, they just don't like strong female leads. Well, guess what? I got news for you. You don't like Rey because you can't handle a strong female character. Presenting strong female characters, Bo-Katan, Padme. You've got. I mean, look at this. Gina Carano's character. Ahsoka, Princess Leia. What's her name from Rogue One? A whole bunch of characters. So I really think that I believe that there is a way that you can go about having a strong female character in a film that fans respond to. Alan, I'd really like to hear your thoughts on this.
I don't know. I mean, the point was that Disney bought these properties, and it's not like that they were going to sit on them. They bought them to make money with them. And the reality of it all is they are losing money. They're losing money big time. What they lost $900 million over the last 15 movies. That's not an investment. And it surprises me how everyone on the Disney board still have jobs. It makes no sense to me, and they're doubling down. I think Bob Iger is about to ask for an extension on his contract.
Yeah, I heard. I read that. Yeah.
Yeah. What is this? Why is this company allergic to money? Why are they spending so much money on bad stuff? And this is the 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney Studios, and the one person no one is talking about is Walt Disney. And his vision, his dreams, how he innovated not only movies and television but theme parks, and somehow I think they've just secretly canceled the man. They'll do their obligatory, hey, 100 years Walt Disney, thank you, but no one will ever go back and say, what would Walt have done, or why was Walt motivated to do this, or how did Walt make money? I've mentioned it time and time again. Walt Disney was always on the verge of bankruptcy. And the only way he could not fall into bankruptcy and lose everything was to make movies that appealed to a large audience. Right. And it's almost the exact opposite right now. Walt was almost on the brink of bankruptcy. The Walt Disney Company today is just spending money frivolously. And Lucasfilm, they spent all this money on Willow, on Indiana Jones, Star Wars, and it has not made them a dime at this point.
Yeah, it's.
Okay, the first two movies did great, but we saw through it now. We understand, and they're getting their comeuppance at this point.
Well, it's literally been, excuse me. People just are constantly speculating when she'll be out at Lucasfilm. I think the damage is done. I don't know. I think the only way you bring Lucasfilm back is if all the properties go away. And I actually really like the character of Ahsoka. The episode that she was in The Mandalorian, I thought was very good. That was a really good standalone episode, very simple. I really like Rosario Dawson. So there you go. Thank you, Imperfect. I will drink the coffee. But I think at this point, the Ahsoka series and the Acolyte, those shows are not going to save Star Wars. If anything, they may continue to drive fans away. If you're not creating new fans and you continue to alienate the old fans, there's just nowhere for your franchise to go. I think it's kind of done. So where does the Indiana Jones franchise go? On the scrap heap of cinema history. That's where it's going to go. And it's unfortunate. I don't think anyone else can step into that role. I think that, maybe you could do comic books or an animated series, get Harrison Ford sound-alike to voice it, which you can do. But I think what you have to do is these franchises kind of have to go away so people miss them. And then what you do is you do development in the form of novels and comic books and animated shows. That's why Star Wars has such a deep lore, is because of the extended universe. The extended universe created so many great, additional storylines with minor characters, with some of the major characters. It's often brought up. Timothy Zahn's series, Heir to the Empire. I loved that. I read those novels while listening to the Star Wars soundtrack. That's how much I loved it. It was so great. It felt like Star Wars. It felt like the heroes that I loved reunited in a new adventure with a new threat. And Grand Admiral Thrawn was such a powerful character. He was obviously brought into the animated series and, is being brought into now the Disney Plus series. They couldn't escape the extended universe because guess what? Those stories are very good.
Yeah, guess what? Clone Wars kept Star Wars on the forefront for a very long time.
Precisely.
And then, you're absolutely right. The only way to make money off of Indiana Jones at the moment is merchandising, is licensing.
True.
You can start creating some really cool toys, merchandising, collectibles with it, and you're going to make more money than your movies will.
But I'll say this: if you go to a Disney theme park and you're looking for a Star Wars t-shirt with the image of Han Solo or Luke Skywalker, talking about classic Luke, you won't find it. They're only pushing new Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the big issue that I have.
Yeah.
Let's
Again,
go to
they're
your,
allergic to money. They are absolutely allergic to money.
yeah. Let's go to your comments and questions about the last two rants that Alan and I had. Eric Henson for 2 says Sam L needs to retire. I hate to agree with you. From Rumble, Winter Soldier sub supporter Nick Fury is nothing without Skrulls. Sad to hear that, but yeah. Aid Ellis 24 from Rumble says the Marvel series with In Theory, the most stacked cast, has the worst acting. Can't say I'm surprised. Salt Dog also from Rumble. What's wrong with CG? He doesn't have his Friday whiskey voice today. You can't. It's a little whiskey voice. It's my morning voice. Literally, the first words I usually say are when I'm on this show, and I've got my coffee. If I'm on an afternoon show, it's usually like I've had coffee, drank some water, I've had a little breakfast, and I'm more awake. But there you go. Zavin, do they have a race script? If not, delay. There's a script in development,
which is not in development at the moment.
Well, it leaked out that they're planning to shoot in April of 2024. There you go. The Red Baron, the Muppets have not been brutalized by Disney as Lucasfilm has. Thank God for small miracles. I Am Luke's Father says, Alan is 100% correct.
Wow, you went through that one fast.
Yeah, I want to get past it. John Thomas for 5 says, Phantom Menace was a disappointment. Batman and Robin was a disappointment. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, like Jar Jar Trek, is an abomination. Cara Dune. Yeah, I spaced on her name. Marco CCS 65. Yes, Cara Dune. Why did I haven't had enough coffee yet, folks. How is the quality of your new chair, Alan? Says Comic Boom.
That's very good. See, all right.
8 Ellis 24 from Rumble. Lucasfilm has been dissolved into the shadow of Star Wars and nothing else. I just hope they don't start mining their Lucas Arts IP catalog for film properties. Leave Monkey Island alone. So I would also say Day of the Tentacles. I loved that game. Day of the Tentacles was so fun. Did you play that game, Alan?
Yeah, in fact, it's available on Xbox.
It is okay.
I love that game.
I love that game. It wasn't just
Full Throttle is the other one.
Yeah, the voice acting, and then also, do you remember a series called Sam and Max based on a comic book?
Yeah, again, those are on Xbox. Sam and Max was great.
Let's see. Alan is 100% correct about everything, says Imperfect. Who highlighted that comment?
I didn't. I think, honestly, I didn't do that one.
Comic Boom. I collect Indiana Jones merch, and there is very little out there promoting the movie. There's a lot of merch, but it's based on the classic films, the ones that we like. Toxic Avenger 3 from Rumble. Walt Disney and George Lucas Walt Disney and George Lucas are more similar than George is to the
Walt Disney Company.
The Walt Disney Company. Yeah. Alan said something good about Clone Wars. I'm so happy, says Doug Bernard. And Chris Whiskey Voice is only for Midnight's Edge in the morning on Monday. Yeah,
that's brutal.
I sometimes says One Punch Man Tolkien fan. I sometimes when I'm on that show, I've been awake for 5 minutes. So you're just catching me in the morning. What can I say? And Lego is the only thing where you can find classic Star Wars stuff, says Doug Bernard. And there you have it.
By the way, a lot of talk going on about Full Throttle.
Oh, really?
Did you
there was LucasArts during the 90s. Every game was a hit.
Yeah.
And I played X-Wing, TIE Fighter. There were all the add-ons like B-Wing. Those games were so good. TIE Fighter was epic. I have recently gone on YouTube to watch the cinematics, which are incredibly crude, from TIE Fighter with the music, because what you're getting is the story of Star Wars and some of the most iconic epic battles from the original Star Wars trilogy, but from the point of view of the Empire. So it's like, we've got to get these rebel scum. It's such a good, that would almost be if you were going to remake the Star Wars trilogy, don't remake the trilogy. Remake it from the Empire's point of view. Just do one movie and you're just telling the story of the original Star Wars trilogy from the point of view of Darth Vader and the Empire and the losses and kind of what their goals are. They're trying to unite the galaxy and, create trade routes or whatever. That would be really cool. But TIE Fighter, the game, go watch the cinematics. They're really crude, but I loved TIE Fighter. And what was cool was they really created a logic for how the X-Wings and TIE Fighters worked, what their strengths and weaknesses were. So yeah, big fan. Super chat here from MK Solid 82 for $4.99. Chris, I can see them butchering the Rocketeer. And by the way, Leslie Headland already said that if you don't like Acolyte, then that's okay. Yeah, I you know what? I always reserve judgment. I don't prejudge, but I will say I've seen a lot of bad trailers. And nothing that I've seen of that series has gotten me excited. So there we are. We're going to leave it at that. Alan, any final thoughts?
Yeah, they're screwed. Disney is so screwed at the moment. You heard about the attendance figures?
No, I'm sorry. Could you go with the attendance figures?
Yeah, you heard about those attendance figures. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, no, just saying that the attendance was down over 4th of July at Disney parks while up at everywhere else.
Okay. So you're more of a theme park guy than I am.
Kind of. Honestly, I haven't been to a theme park except Knott's Berry Farm since the pandemic. So
I've been to Knott's Berry Farm several times because they do these food festivals that are so fun.
Yeah.
You get like a little card, a punch card where you can get 8 tastes and everything is like a meal. So you can get drinks and oh my God, it's so good.
Well, one of the great things about Knott's is the meal plan with the annual passes.
The meal plan, the drink, like all that stuff is like, it's such a good value. I feel like the smaller theme parks and even smaller sports franchises, they basically just try harder for your business.
Because they have to compete with Disney. And quite frankly, they're starting to win.
Yeah, so they try harder. But okay, so this is significant. 4th of July holiday is a Tuesday, and fewer people went to Disney. You know why? I think part of it is, would you consider, or would you think that Disney's brand over the last couple of years the brand itself has actually evolved? It's not considered a family-friendly brand anymore. It just
I would say that, and I would also say they're cheap as hell, and that they haven't really they haven't been doing good upkeep of the theme parks lately, which is kind of par for the course. It kind of goes in waves, but and then the cost to get out of your car, the cost to buy a meal, it's astronomical.
I saw a really interesting TikTok video. I never watched TikTok because, first of all, I don't have TikTok, but whenever these videos from TikTok migrate over to YouTube, I'll watch them. And it was a mother and her 3 kids, and they went to Disney World, and all she did was keep all of her receipts. So they went there. She bought lightsabers for her kids, which those are $200 each. Fine. Okay. Actually set that cost aside. She went and you can look up this video, and she went and compiled like all the receipts for every meal, every sort of cost, parking. And it was several $1,000s for a day, tickets, parking, you getting snacks, 3 meals, you're several $1,000s in, several $1,000.
Yeah.
And she showed the receipts. She was like, here are the receipts. This meal cost $300, $400. This was this. And it wasn't like I don't think she was doing anything extravagant. It was just like a basic thing with your family. That's where, places like, Universal, you can get an annual pass for super cheap. Look, and I have no dog in this fight. I'm not endorsing
We do, but
I'm not endorsing anything. I'm just saying, as a consumer, and I have not been to Disney since probably 2018 or even earlier than that.
Yeah. By the way, a couple weeks ago, I had to go to downtown Disney to buy a gift for my child. And parking for the hour was $14. And it used to be you could take the ticket price and credit that against whatever you're buying. Can't do that anymore. And now, and then to eat at downtown Disney is, again, astronomical. I don't know why I would ever go to downtown Disney again now.
Yeah, it's I haven't been, I think, since 2018. I was fortunate enough, a friend of mine used to work there, and I got to go to Galaxy's Edge. True story. I went to Galaxy's Edge and I tried the blue milk.
Well, okay, I'll give it a try. It's great.
Yeah, I not a fan. So, all right, before we move on, I want to remind people we're gonna get to our Insidious review. We're also gonna talk about Joyride, but before we move on, I need to remind people that Attack of the Dock is available in an Ultimate Collector's Edition Blu-ray. It is, if you go to shop.filmthreat.com, or the link is in the description of this episode, or just go to attackofthedock.com. You can pick up the Blu-ray. It will be shipping in August. It is jam-packed with special features, and it's a dual-layer disc. There is commentary for the movie. There are deleted scenes, an hour of deleted scenes, with also a commentary with myself and producer and editor Bobby Schwartz, where we tell you how we made the film. There's extended interviews with every interview subject in the film. So the more than 20 people that I interviewed for the documentary, you hear them for 5 or 6 minutes in the doc, and you get kind of a little sense of them telling a story and whatnot. Well, now you can hear them for 90 minutes talking and telling stories about the old G4 TV. It's amazing. There's a link on it to go to a place in Second Life where we made a reproduction of the set of Attack of the Show. So Second Life was one of the first metaverses that I think came out around 2002, 2003. And we did some machinima animation to recreate scenes from Attack of the Show and illustrate things that we didn't have supporting footage for throughout the movie. So there's like 5 or 6 minutes of it. Well, now you can actually go to the set of Attack of the Show in the metaverse in Second Life. The only way to do that is to get this disc. There's a little QR code on the menu screen. You go there. There's a secret Easter egg menu, but I made it pretty easy to find. And there are Easter eggs on every single menu page. Pick it up. This is a limited edition, and I have to pimp it. There's a lot of things on there. There's like,
I love the prequels. I have boobs. Harry Coinslot, harrycoinslot.com.
I have no idea what that was just now. No clue whatsoever. But this is just your reminder to pick it up. It's in the Film Threat shop. It's the only place you can buy it. And we're going to be having a shipping party. What's a shipping party? It's going to be me and a bunch of people who worked on the movie getting together at my place to stuff the envelopes and ship out the discs.
It's where you invite your friends over to do grunt work.
It's sort of like, when you ask your friend, hey, can you help me move? And then you buy them pizza and beer. There'll probably be pizza and beer. So any friends of mine out there that are interested, pizza and beer and drinks and come over and help me stuff some envelopes. We'll be shipping these out. The Kickstarter backers we're going to be shipping those before San Diego Comic-Con, and anyone who pre-ordered it just after San Diego Comic-Con, we're shipping out your copies. I can't wait for you to see it. I'm going to throw in, I'm going to throw in a sticker. Everyone that orders from the Film Threat shop, you'll get this sticker, Attack of the Doc, a little memento. So there you are. Cool. And Alan, by the way, Alan is on the disc.
Yes, so I could sign it too.
Hey, let's say you're not a fan of me. I get it. I understand. If you're a fan of Alan, there's the drunken Q&A where Alan had to kind of corral me and everyone, and so we filmed the a guy filmed the Q&A for us. I really appreciate it. And it's on the disc. It's one of the Easter eggs, but it's
the drunk one is on there, or the
first one where I was less drunk.
Yeah,
I was still drunk though, but pick up the Blu-ray.
I like that third one.
It's literally, for me, it's sort of closing a chapter. It's like the mic drop of, if you're a fan of Attack of the Show and G4 TV, this is the ultimate DVD collectible Blu-ray. I can't wait for you to see it. And I defy you to find all the Easter eggs. They're mostly easy to find. Scroll around. So there you go. Cool. And a couple of comments here, and then we're going to pivot and we'll talk about Insidious. I was a bear for 5. Chris, would you ever consider doing a sequel documentary called The People versus Kathleen Kennedy? I think you're the perfect person to make that film. Funny you should bring that up. I have a Star Wars related documentary that I plan to shoot before the end of the year. I have only talked to a few people about this. It is a very interesting concept. It involves partially that, but it's bigger than that. I may or may not do a Kickstarter for it, but yeah, I don't want to talk about it right now. Juxtapose says, but thank you, I was a bear. Juxtapose, when is the pre-order cutoff date? August 1st. It doesn't mean the pre-order, just means that you're going to get it like in the wave of people that get it. You should still be able to order it after the pre-order date. However, if we have to order more copies, there will be a delay. You will know about the delay. I don't expect there to be a delay on pre-orders because we ordered enough. All right. So but if we have to order more discs, there may be a delay of a month. But you will know about it. If there are any delays, you will know, but I don't expect there to be if you order your Blu-ray before August 1st. All Twisted Up says, come on, man. Didn't hesitate. I already got my copy ordered. Yeah, All Twisted Up. And member stream that party, says Retribution 0. Yeah, we could do that. Should we do that? Sure. All right, so we'll do a member stream. It'll probably be over my phone, and it'll just be me holding a phone, and we're just going to be like in my patio area, or as I call it,
envelopes.
Patio, and it'll only be for members. Sifx says, let me know, I'll come help. Hell yeah, you're invited. We'll get some pizza. And JTPRX, who's a member, do we get to see the Allens on the Blu-ray? Unfortunately, no. I kept it G4 focused, but there's some weird stuff. There's a music video that we did specifically. Like, I've been working on the extras for this since last August. So when it comes out, the Blu-ray finally comes out, I'll have been working on the Blu-ray for a year. And it's literally the maximum you could fit on a dual layer. I was talking to the guy who did the authoring, and I'm like, can we fit like maybe a few more things on it? And we could not. And No Money G for 5. Are you still signing the Blu-ray when bought online? Where to put ask when checking out? I'll sign it if you ask me. The way to do that is to go to filmthreat.com/contact and remind me. Just put your order number and name. I will sign it. I kind of don't want to ruin it. Like, The disc looks so good. The disc looks so good. I don't really want to like, where do I sign it if I sign it? Where should I put it?
Well, you do at the bottom, the bottom half there.
Maybe like, like here in the dead space.
Yeah, where all that white space is.
Yeah, cool. But there it is. Packed disc. There you are. And I'll send you a sticker. But if you really want, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think it's a reward for being being in the chat, watching the live stream.
Yes. All right. Just tell me what your order number is and your name. There you go. The Red Baron says, does the Blu-ray have footage of Olivia Munn dressed as Sailor Moon? If so, you didn't need to include anything else. Well, we added up. It's 28 and a half hours. 28 and a half hours.
Of Olivia Munn dressed up as some...
No, just all the extras. All the extras. Everything. Like if you watched everything on the disc, watched and listened, because we kind of edited the extended interviews. They're like podcasts, so we have little music, and it's basically a conversation with me talking for like an hour and a half with all of the interview subjects, and that's in audio only. But if you looked at everything on the disc, it's 28 and a half hours. So there you go. All right, time to pivot. What?
Yeah, now I want to get Chinese food.
All right, let's talk about Insidious: The Red Door. Not a huge fan of this series. I prefer The Conjuring. I prefer, I have not seen all of the Insidious films, but my whole take on Insidious is it's jump scare the movie, because this and I think the Insidious films are kind of PG-13. They're not super gory, and I've not been. Now I am a fan of Patrick Wilson, and Patrick Wilson did direct this one, which is interesting, but I'm not a super fan of this series. So his character, Josh Lambert, basically drops off his son Dalton at school, where he ends up with, oddly enough, a female roommate who ends up becoming his buddy. And Dalton is having all these bizarre dreams. You find out in a flashback at the beginning of the movie, they kind of had a year deleted from their brains as a way to cope. And the dreams become nightmares, and there's sort of a blurring between reality. These sort of demon spirits end up haunting Dalton while he's at school, and he's seeing people who died in horrific ways, including one kid who died in a horrible hazing accident at one of the fraternities, kind of comes back, in front of him in this awful sort of like, basically he's yakking into the toilet to death, kind of. But these demons and spirits manifest and whatnot, and it's Patrick Wilson and Dalton kind of dealing with it. I did not love this movie. I think it's very mid. I think the Insidious films are kind of mid anyways when it comes to horror. I thought that it's just filled with jump scares, and it just didn't blow my mind. And it was mostly, here's the thing. I realized, like, why am I not like super in love with this? Because I actually really like horror films. I'm looking at the audience, and the audience is all teen girls. It's lit, and there were 3 teen girls sitting right in front of me that were looking at their phones, that were loud, that were making jokes. And guess what? It made the movie better. It actually, I didn't mind. Normally I'd go like, hey, could you turn off your phone, please? Or could you, I get like this courage whenever I'm in movie theaters. It's dark. I don't care if you're doing something that's disturbing the film. No tolerance from me. But these girls just kept making jokes, and they were laughing and goofing, and it actually made the film better. So I thought it was forgettable. Even I'm kind of even struggling to remember a lot of parts of the plot. It's just sort of one scary thing to the next scary thing, with sort of an innocuous thing that they have to do. Patrick Wilson effectively has to save his son from these demons. And Lynn Shay shows up at the end. I love Lynn Shay. There's a just want to put in a quick plug. There is an interview that Alan and I did with Lynn Shay. She was on the channel. Just look up Lynn Shay. Love her. You've seen her in so many films. She's fantastic. So she's part of the Insidious series, of course. But when we interviewed her, she was talking about there's something about Mary, and in it you see her bare breasts. The Fairley brothers let her keep those breasts, and she showed it to us, framed. She had them, the prosthetic that she wore. I don't know why this says so few views on our channel, but we just sort of put it out. But yeah, check it out. We have a new Film Threat interviews channel. So go to the Film Threat homepage. You'll see interviews, or just look up Film Threat interviews. Please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get that channel monetized, and check out the Lynn Shay interview. But it's one of those things where I didn't even hate this movie. I just sort of was like, and it was over. That was that. I mean,
what is the attraction of this franchise then? It sounds like a lot like Nightmare on Elm Street.
You know what this is? It's training wheels for beginning horror fans. That's what the Insidious series is. It's not particularly bloody or gory. It's deals with family and kids. They are I just think that they're very middle. This felt like a film that should have just gone to HBO Max. Just go directly, past the theaters, just go directly to HBO Max or Max, whatever they're calling it. So the budget was 16 million, and it shows. It just, everything about it just seems, I will say at least most of the effects were practical effects, so I have to give it credit for that. But this movie is, I don't think it's going to beat Indiana Jones this weekend.
But it'll make more money than Indiana Jones.
I don't know though.
Honestly, 16 million?
It was made for, yes. This movie was made for 16 million, in its theatrical run, and then going to Max. It will be more profitable than Indiana Jones, 100%. Will it beat Indiana Jones? I don't think so.
No.
And I think also Sound of Freedom and Joyride, the other films that are in theaters this weekend, I think they're going to do much better. I think Indiana Jones will drop. I don't know if it will drop out of the number one slot. That I can't say. If Sound of Freedom gets like a big boost, and by the way, if you want to be encouraged, go look at the comments on the Sound of Freedom video that was recently posted on the Film Threat channel. Just read the comments. I was reading the comments. I responded to a few of them.
Are we getting canceled?
No, but it was an amazing conversation. There were only a few people, but I didn't realize how much controversy there was behind this film. It didn't feel particularly controversial to me, but I digress. But Insidious, The Red Door, do not recommend. 4 out of 10. And I think it's going to, but I do think because of the budget, it will be a moderate success. So, and Alan, I know you're not even really a big horror fan.
Not really.
Well, there you go. Let's see if we have any comments about what I just talked about. JBL for 10. Thank you so much. Can you do a video or quickly comment on Kathleen Kennedy replacements you would like to see Lucasfilm/Disney 2-year get well plan? George Lucas, Jon Favreau. I think
Jon Favreau, as long as he's not suffering from PTSD from having to have worked with Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, I really think those are probably the only two. Everyone says Dave Filoni. I would disagree. I think that I think Jon Favreau is, I think he understands what Star Wars is. And I think you bring George Lucas back in an advisory role. He's not like in the office day to day, but he comes in once a week and he gives comments. When you hear about people working with him, he would give like these brilliant, like, no, this character's named this, or here's this. He would look at designs, and you'll see in a lot of the behind the scenes for the prequels, he would actually like have like this rubber stamp. You'd say like, this is good, this is good. Or he had like a blue marker, like this is digital. And then it's like, he forgot which it was because so much of it was digital. There's like a famous thing where he's going through storyboards and so much of the movie was digital for episode 1. It was kind of funny. But
But the thing that George Lucas had that no other filmmaker had, especially in the studio, was complete free reign to be creative.
Yes. Yes, 100%.
You can still bring people in, but is Disney going to allow someone to go free reign and just tell Star Wars stories without any corporate notes behind it?
Yeah, I don't know. Where do you go from there? I really think that Jon Favreau with George Lucas in an advisory role, and what you do is you stop all movies and TV shows cease, because comic books and novels are cheap, and you bring in some of the best novelists to create true Star Wars stories. How about this? How about a novel of what the Star Wars sequels should have been?
Mm-hmm.
A novel that basically takes that era and tells the story of Han, Luke, and Leia's final adventure. You could do that. So you start, and then you dip your toe in and you maybe do an animated series, but you literally cease everything for a couple of years. And what you're doing by making novels and comic books is you're creating new ground for storytelling, new parts and new things. Kathleen Kennedy said something I thought was very disconcerting. She said, we need to move past George Lucas. Hardcore disagree. George created this universe. The best ideas came from George, and I do believe the best ideas were in collaboration with other people like Marcia Lucas or like Gary Kurtz. Okay? So I think what you do is you get George Lucas advisory, you bring in Jon Favreau, and then also you put together, they tout this writer's room, this writer's group. You know what I would do? I would bring in some of the most vocal YouTubers, and I would create a fan committee, and I would ask what they think of certain ideas. It's just market research. Heck, bring in people like Star Wars Theory, who has more subs on YouTube than the Star Wars channel. Okay, I have invited him on the Critics Court, by the way. And next week's episode of Critics Court, Nerdrotic, Gary Beekler from Nerdrotic, and Az from Heel versus Babyface will be here, along with Andrew from Legal Mindset. Who among you would like to be part of the defense? Let me know on our Discord. Going to be huge.
Are we still looking? Is that what you're saying?
To go up against those guys? Yeah. But it's I think what you do is you have it go away, and you do, comic writers and novelists is a cheap way to do development. You're not developing a movie, you're developing stories. And then you bring in, literally, instead of a story group, you put together a fan group. This is literally a group of fans that you fly over to Skywalker Ranch, and you tell them, look, we know we flew you here. You're gonna walk away with a gift bag. Having said that, we want your brutally honest opinion. Where is the brand? What would you like to see? How do we achieve that? How do we make the fans happy? You bring in not a story group, a fan group, and they're unpaid. But what you do is you get their unfiltered opinion. They get a free vacation out of it, but it's an unfiltered opinions from fans. I don't know why this isn't done for every franchise. Why would you just bring in some writers coming in? They're going to just give their, here's my take on what I'm going to do. How about the people that are the most hardcore fans of a thing, ask them what they want, and then give them what they want, and include some ideas that they may not have expected that elevates it and makes it even better. It seems so obvious that, I don't know, if fans are asking for something, why not give it to them? Alan, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, concept? So here's what I would do, and let me see if you agree or think it's way off. I would right now develop a Han, Luke, and Leia animated series for Disney Plus. Then I would make the Knights of the Old Republic movie, and I would lean heavily in that movie in the lore and the religion of the Force, and kind of establish what that is, develop it, evolve it, expand it, whatever. But take that foundational idea of the Force and do something with it. And then after that, you go 100 years after Rey, and you tell new stories of Star Wars.
I agree with everything you just said, except for the 100 years after Rey.
20 years
don't
after
really
Rey.
care. Here's what I would do. Here's another thing that I would do. You want my fan feedback? The Adventures of Luke Skywalker from the Journal of the Wills.
Mhm.
You make a series that is the Adventures of Luke Skywalker, and it takes place after Return of the Jedi. What were his adventures? Throw a little Mara Jade in there. I mean, if you look in the novelization of the first Star Wars, which I didn't even realize was called A New Hope until they did a re-release of the movie where they added that. And it was like 2 years after they did this re-release before The Empire Strikes Back came out. And it was episode 4, A New Hope. Like, wait, what? But when you look at the novelization, it said The Adventures of Luke Skywalker from the Journal of the Wills, and it's spelled Wills. We have never to this day, at least by maybe there's something in the comics or the novelizations, I've never heard that the Wills has ever been defined. The rumor is that the Wills is the species of Yoda. Yoda, Yaddle, Grogu, whatever. They're all Wills. And they have been sort of like the Watcher in the Marvel universe, kind of watching because they live for so many years, right? Like Yoda lived 800 years. So they have a longer view of history, the Wills. So, I mean, what? Luke Skywalker I don't know. I guess Luke Skywalker lived into his 60s, technically. But I don't know. I don't like the way they dealt with Luke in the end, and especially Rise of Skywalker, which united all of fans in their disdain for Disney Star Wars. But the Journal of the Wills would be basically the Yoda species telling this story that spans thousands of years back to, there's an interview I did on the Film Threat website. If you go to filmthreat.com, look up Gary Kurtz. I did an interview with Gary Kurtz where he discusses what the Star Wars prequels and the sequels were supposed to be when George was laying them out when he was working with George. And the original Star Wars Episode 1 was supposed to take place 25,000 years before the events of A New Hope, telling the story of the formation of the original Jedi Knights. And it was supposed to be like a Knights of the Round Table type of thing. That's what it was originally intended to be. And then the second 2 films were going to be the story of the friendship of Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and how that fell apart, leading to the rise of Darth Vader and the rise of the Empire. So there you go. That's how I would do it. But yeah, read that interview. Just look up Gary Kurtz on filmthreat.com. Maybe Alan, you could bring it up.
Yeah.
I'm going to look a few more chat questions. We have more stuff. Pharaoh of Vibes for 20. Thank you for that. Loved the previous vid, Disney neuters men. I agree with Alan. Disney doesn't want to make content for males. They can't coherently write female leads with interesting arcs and storylines. A perfect hero is boring. I think Disney is a girl brand. And Disney changes everything it absorbs. So there you are. Eric Stratton for 777, who's a member. Drunk 3PO and Gary are slowly doing collab to match actual 90s comic books with the art in Marvel Superhero Land Universal. They need a producer. All right. Hit him up. Kung Fu Hot Dog for £5. Chris, you beautiful man. Today I purchased the Ultimate Attack of the Doc Blu-ray. Can't wait to get my copy in August. Hail the fellowship from the UK. Well, thank you for that. I do appreciate it. From Rumble, 8Ellis24. If there were any showrunners that could work wonders in the Star Wars verse, I would look to the guys behind Cobra Kai, as they have a simply structured that show in ways Lucas and Joseph Campbell. I hear what you're trying to say.
Would be proud of that in ways that, yeah.
Yeah. Abimo Better is a supporter on Rumble. Alan is right. again. And Mike MC Wong, no knockers? Exactly. Subscribe to the interview channel. Thank you, Sanjuro. I think we're really close to 1,000 subs on our interview channel. Once we get to 1,000 subs, I think that we can apply for monetization. We're like maybe 40 away or something. So please subscribe to our interviews channel real quick. It's not up, it's only updated a couple times a week. We do clips of our interviews and throw it on that channel. And I think you guys would enjoy it.
By the way, what time are our guests coming?
10:40.
10:40, because we do need to talk about Joyride.
Yes, don't worry, I'm gonna get to it.
Okay.
West Ray, you guys should interview Bob Shea sometime. One of the true indie pioneers. I would love that. Want Biscuits. Love Alan's 1970s comb overdue. Just needs a butterfly collar. You're looking dapper today, Alan.
Look at that. I know. I gotta. Hey, by the way, we are 20 subscribers away from 1,000 on the interview channel.
Oh, that's great. We have 671 people watching live. Yep. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. You know the drill. You know the drill.
And then go to the Film Threat Interviews channel and do the exact same thing.
And also go to the Film Threat Trailers channel and do the same thing. We put out one trailer a day at noon Pacific time. That's it. One trailer a day. Some of the trailers, not going to lie, the movies look awful. But then there are like weird trailers like Cocaine Shark. There's an actual trailer for a movie called Cocaine Shark, and it's on the Film Threat Trailers channel. We tried to break it up because we would put trailers out on our main channel and they would get no views, or they get few views. We're trying to build up like, these other channels, so you get what you want. I love watching movie trailers. I could watch movie trailers all day. I love it. Lol, this is a sleepover movie, says How's Your Father? This is a movie to put on a plane and you can fall asleep watching it. And Mike MC Wong never checked the phone for time this often, did not check the time for The Lesson. Now that is a movie with strong acting, recommended. I am going to see The Lesson.
I almost saw that last night.
What's that?
I almost saw it last night.
I'm going to see it tonight, Mike. So there you go. I'm going to go see The Lesson. And there's a Chinese film that it just is opening that's at the Santa Anita Mall. I'm also going to see that one. So I like to see these small movies, and we'll talk about them next week. Oh,
we're 5 away from 1,000 on the
5 away, and we have 659 people watching live. Come on, folks.
Hi, Dad. I miss you.
All right, I'm gonna
two more people. All
right, Alan, I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee while you stall for time.
Okay.
Chris and Alan, they're critics you can't trust. With honesty like 69, they never adjust. Their opinions are like bullets, they always go bang. Their words hit like a hammer, leaving haters like Kane.
All right. We have a super chat that just came in from Live, Laugh, Learn for $10. Star Wars is dead. Indiana Jones is dead. Games of Thrones was murdered. Marvel DC were murdered. Why has my entire childhood been taken away from me? Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know. What is it about that time that storytelling was A, simple, was good, and B, just told stories. It didn't have some kind of agenda behind it that we have to follow, that we have to insert at every corner. Imperfect says Cocaine Shark in the White House. Oh, hey, there's a movie idea. By the way, we will have a review of Cocaine Shark coming up in a few days, probably next week, and I can tell you it's bad. I saw it. Here's the thing. You can really tell that Cocaine Shark it got its title because of a other movie featuring cocaine. This movie does not have a whole lot of cocaine in it. It has a lot of sharks though. Let's see. Chad feather it up, and we can be in the new Star Wars reboot. Yeah, that's right. Let me go over to Rumble here real quick. Oh, yeah, we got some over on Rumble. We have a Rumble rant. BMO better for $1. I don't like giving my money to YouTube anymore. So yeah, there you go. And BMO better became a monthly supporter on Rumble, and we tried to get on Kick this morning, and I probably had a setting wrong, and so we're doing that. So we're not on Kick today. We're gonna try on Wednesday. Yeah, Miss P Coffee, if you could help me star some of these things, that'd be great. Let me see. Here's a nice long one. The Red Baron. I'm not so down with the cocaine-themed animal movies now as a schlocky gimmick. Let's not pretend that this is wacky, original, or interesting. It's not. It's just more derivative crap. Yeah. Still better than what Hollywood is giving us at the moment. Imperfect says, it's all on you. You got this. Itachi Uchiha. Alan is up to something. I wish. Let's see. Eric Stratton, I joined you on Kick. Yeah, for some reason they're saying we need at least 5 people. So
that's why we couldn't live stream. Oh, by the way,
no,
I could hear the comments while I was getting my coffee, which is in the other room, but I could hear it. I just thought of a really interesting idea for a video we need to put together. Okay. The video is that final scene from The Godfather. You know, the final scene where basically Michael is...
It's at the baptism, that one?
He's at the baptism at church, right? He's at the baptism at church. He's there, but all of his enemies are being dispensed with.
Oh.
But what it is it's Kathleen Kennedy in church, and she's there, and the people being offed are all the franchises. So it's literally Mo Green as Star Wars, boom, gets hit. And like all the someone has to make that video. I think that would be awesome if someone made a video like that. I don't know. Am I crazy?
Yeah.
I don't know why that idea just popped into my head. I think that would be really funny.
By the way, Winter Soldier wants us to ask Anna about Godfather.
Oh, there is going to be a debate. I'm not sure if you saw this video. Have you guys seen this video of Anna and I? That let's see. I thought I uploaded it. Here.
It might have been on a different brand.
Might have been on a different. Let me check something real quick.
It was on. Yeah, check Hollywood on the Road.
Okay, I'm gonna check this real quick. I thought I uploaded this video to show everybody. So, no, unfortunately, it's not here. I don't see.
See if I can pull up on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't see it, but I do see this. One day you have to show us your tattoo, like for real.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, I got in this kind of fight with, not a fight, but like disagreement with Anna over the movie RRR. It's a slight disagreement. So there you go. Last comment here before we pivot. Alan butchering Japanese names is always hilarious, says Shakti. Yeah, come on, Alan.
Look, as someone who is Chinese, you should expect that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
yeah, I don't know if this is going to play well, so we can try it.
Okay.
It depends on my internet. So
right,
let me know if it's going to work.
This thing is so spectacularly entertaining, RRR. If you have not seen the trailer, you need to see this trailer now, which has 65 million views and counting.
RRR is fucking terrible. That was the worst. Like, it's right up there with The Last fucking Jedi.
This is like, and I've like messaged my friend saying, check out this trailer. If it's playing near you, go see it.
My friend Nina, my friend Chris Gore told me to watch this movie because it's supposed to be good. And we watched it and we're like, that I'm not autistic enough, or I'm not drunk enough, or I'm not I'm sorry, retarded enough to understand this fucking movie because it's so fucking stupid and so fucking bad.
And then there's like this dance number in the middle of the movie, which is actually a scene in the film where, one of the characters gets invited to go to this dance by a British woman. He's kind of like a little skittish about going. So he goes, and it ends up being this dance competition. And it's so funny.
And then when they start dancing, they're like,
All right, look.
Like, I support you. I support you, but she's gonna eat you alive.
Well, we'll see. John Shano, as a movie critic, Anna has a great rack. Well, there you go. Imperfect says,
Maybe we need to bring the plunger video back then.
I'm drying or I'm dying. I don't know. Anyways, look, Anna and I are going to debate this. We're going to debate it, and we're going to do it probably not on the Film Threat channel, but we will do it on, I think, Nina Infinity's channel. Is Anna the new Eric Weber? You mean somebody with terrible takes? Yes. That person that has awful takes. But just a few more super chats. We have another movie to talk about before we have special guests arrive. Buford T. Justice for $49.99. Thank you. Everyone support Chris and go get 1, 2, or 6 copies of the Attack of the Doc Blu-ray. Thank you, Buford T. Justice. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. MK Solid 82 for $4.99. Chris, what needs to happen to nerd culture next that will really make your blood boil? I think there needs to be a purge of people who do not understand it.
Mm-hmm.
There just needs to be. And I think we know where those people are at those companies. Live, laugh, learn for $5. I don't know, guys. They can't both be right. And the one who is wrong must be racist. I'm not going to call Anna that. But there you go. You both have to be drunk during the debate, says Imperfect. Challenge accepted. And from Rumble, Lord Shax, Anna really disagrees with Chris. Yeah, well, I'll upload that video later. We're probably going to upload it to the channel, actually. But we do need to pivot. We do need to pivot because we have special guests coming on. So let's pivot very quickly here. We're going to pivot.
My adversaries crumble when we rumble. It's a catastrophe on anybody who trying to hate, come and blast at me. I've been in this for a minute. See how I graduated from rookie to beginner, but now I'm winning on the road. Backing up and selling our shows, but let's rewind the tape a bit and let them all know.
What's funny is in real life, Alan and I are exactly the same height.
Are we?
No, Alan's taller than me. What are you, like 6'2", or you're over 6 foot? I know
almost 6'1".
All right, yeah. Well, you obviously wear heels. All right, let's talk about Joyride, which is a new comedy that's out this weekend from Lionsgate. If you have seen the trailer, you need to watch the Red Band trailer. This is an incredibly raunchy comedy about 2 young women who have been best friends since they were kids. Why? Because they're both Asian. They meet when they're little kids. They're bullied on the playground and insulted by a little boy who gets his just desserts. Cut to them later in life. One has become an artist. She does this sort of sex positive art. The other friend, it has become an attorney that works at a law firm where basically she is she's the only non-white person that works there. Ashley Park is the lead, and Sherry Cola's her friend. She plays Lolo. Ashley Park plays Audrey. They're best friends, and what happens is Audrey has to go overseas for work to China to close a deal for her law firm. And in that adventure, she's going to look for her birth mother because Audrey was adopted, and therein begins the adventure. Sabrina Wu plays a character named Deadeye, which is, I would say she's the kind of straight person comic relief, in a sense, straight man. in there. They meet up with Stephanie Shu, who plays a character named Kat, who was Audrey's friend in college, and she's now a famous actress starring in these Chinese epics, Chinese dramas. Stephanie Shu, of course, you remember from Everything Everywhere All at Once. And that is just the beginning of an over-the-top, insane adventure involving drugs, sex, tons of drinking, bonding, separations in what is, and we just saw a couple weeks ago, No Hard Feelings with Jennifer Lawrence. This is the best comedy of the year. It's incredibly raunchy. It's also really smart. One of the questions someone might ask is it woke? It makes fun of wokeness. Audrey's boss at the law firm is like this superly, overly woke and self-conscious guy that is just like, people were bursting out laughing. I've seen it twice now. It was great.
Let me just say this about the boss. He is so not racist. He's racist.
That's the funny thing is he's so not racist. He ends up being racist. Which is exactly what like a lot of like liberal elites, kind of the way they act sometimes, is they get like, they're so like not racist that they end up being racist. It's weird, but like, that's the funny part is, and then like, oh my God, there's just so many great moments in this film. They end up having to go to Korea, so they've lost their passports, so they have to pretend to be a K-pop band. This joke is ruined in the trailer, so I'll talk about it. But that scene is so hysterical. There's a viral moment that occurs that is, I mean, it's shocking for an R-rated movie, because you see a close-up of a tattooed woman's hoo-ha. That might be the nicest way I can say it. That tattooed hoo-ha goes viral. They show it on screen, and it's not like a flash. You see it.
Yeah, the thing you're understating here is this is a raunchy movie.
This is really raunchy.
It doesn't stop. And
but other than that, there's not a lot of nudity. Even though there's sex in the movie, it's all played comedically. So it's not like, and there's just not a lot of nudity, with the exception of that shot. Prepare for that. But I don't want to spoil anything else from the last part of the movie. It ends up becoming it's the thing people are comparing it to is The Hangover. It's really not like, it's like The Hangover only in one sense of you have people going on this crazy, over the top, insane adventure and then becoming close friends as a result. And that's what happens here. There are also rivalries within the group between Audrey's childhood friend and her college friend. And then the character of Deadeye is just hysterical, because Deadeye is like this autistic on the spectrum, like doesn't fit in, like is completely aware that she is awkward. I loved it. I cannot recommend this movie enough. I will probably see it for a third time. Love this film. Fantastic. Alan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I thought No Hard Feelings was the funniest movie this year. This one is funnier. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's kind of nonstop, wall-to-wall raunchy humor. Yes. And the thing about this is, look, I'll put on the misogynist hat on right now. I never thought I would ever have seen a female-driven, female-led raunchy comedy that was any good. The last one that it wasn't even close was American Pie went female. And it was horrible. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that they held back. That, because they're women, they're not gonna punch down like the men do. This movie, they punch down, they punch up, they punch sideways. It's just look, the trailer, I will tell you this, the trailer for this movie is horrible. Because it just makes it look like it's just nonstop raunchiness and bad jokes. But what Adele Lim does is she wrote Crazy Rich Asians. She directed and co-wrote this one. She's masterful at just spreading these jokes out over time to where you're not being inundated and overwhelmed by just these really nasty lowbrow jokes. It's spread out nicely so that it becomes more palatable. And she doesn't hold back. There's nothing that says, that she goes for it, and that's exactly what you want in a raunchy comedy. The other thing is, in all raunchy comedies, there is the sex montage, and in this one, you and I saw it together. We were just looking at each other, going, "Are we seeing what we're seeing?" It is insane, and it's unique, and it's fresh. And again, I think, I didn't think a woman could ever pull off a raunchy comedy like this, and Adele Lim has done that, and just I can't recommend this movie the most. I will not take my daughter to see it.
I was gonna say, you take your daughter to a lot of movies. I am really happy you didn't. And it even has the thing that the lead character is named Audrey and she's adopted.
Yeah. I mean, it's ironic. It's like there's a part of that I think my daughter would appreciate in the second half of the movie, but it's that sex montage that I cannot let my daughter see this movie.
Well, what's that company where you can like clean flicks, where you can like get a movie that's been edited? I don't know how much of this movie would actually be left.
Yeah,
probably not very much. Not very much, but yeah.
And look, I've seen comments since I posted my review for this, and sometimes I'm tired of watching white content all the time.
Well,
and maybe I want to see people who look like me on the screen, and I am very happy to be able to do that. And I think if I have to endure white content, maybe you give this movie a chance.
Well, I'll say this: two quick comments before we go to comments from me before we go to comments from everyone watching. But real quick, the original title of this movie was Joy Fuck Club, making fun of the title for Joy Luck Club. I think Joy Fuck Club was a better title.
Yeah, it's a more appropriate title.
It is, but how do you market it? You can't, because whatever. But Joyride, I think, is a really lame kind of title. But what I do love about the movie is it makes fun of every kind of Asian. And it talks about how Asians are racist against other Asians. Like there's a scene where it's I don't want to ruin it too much, but there's a scene where basically you see like people are very excited and then not when they find out a certain thing about somebody, and it's like you see that like, and then they're pointing out, because this is the dumb thing with a lot of people that, and this is also a sort of a liberal thing too, is they want to put people into groups. Like white people are just white people when there are French, German, English, Scottish, Irish, Italian. There are many different types of white people. By the way, many different types of Asians, Korean, Vietnamese, Filipino, Japanese, Chinese. Like there's just, I don't like this whole...
The Asian community is so racist against each other. It's amazing.
But the movie deals with it.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
absolutely.
But I love, one of the jokes I laughed out loud was the white boss at the beginning was like, "Hey, I go to 99 Ranch Market." Like a lot of the jokes are very inside, but it's like, this movie doesn't give a fuck. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. It makes fun of everything. And it has, at its core, it has a sense of humor about itself. It has a sense of humor about itself, which is why it's so endearing and why it's heartfelt. And these women go on this adventure, and the stuff that happens is insane. But the fact that they were able to pull this off is, it's better than No Hard Feelings, and it's different from No Hard Feelings. I think No Hard Feelings is more of a romantic comedy. I would say Joyride is like in the Hangover vein, and I want to get to the comments, but strong recommendation, best comedy I've seen this year. Alan?
I'll say it again. I'm glad that the two best movies, two funniest movies this year so far are female-led.
Exactly. Let's go here. Beerosaurus Rex says, Joy Luck Club 2, Joyride. Iceman says, who's this movie for? I'll tell you who it's for. Anyone who loves a good comedy. Anyone who loves a good comedy.
Yeah, and likes raunchy comedies. Let's be real. You're not taking your kids or your conservative parents to this movie.
100% I would not take kids or anyone that could be offended by... I don't want to ruin some of the insane... Some people were bugging me like, I accidentally spoil stuff. I might talk about a moment, but I try to keep... I don't talk about the second half of a film, and I try to keep with like what I've seen in the trailer. So if you've seen the trailer, I'm basically talking about.
Yeah. I always say the
great.
first act is up for is up for grabs. We could talk about the first act. It's just beyond that we, that we're crossing the line.
Imperfect says, I'm happy for Alan that this movie exists.
Oh, thanks.
Well, there you go. Beerosaurus Rex, it's actually a remake of the acclaimed 2001 Paul Walker film, Joyride. I'm pretty sure it's not. Sailor Mercury, so better than No Hard Feelings? Wow, that is true. Just going to go with that. Brock Samsonite, the trailer made it seem like a female Chinese version of The Hangover.
Yeah, the trailer does not do this film justice.
No, I don't think the trailer, I'm not going to say it's bad. It's just, it kind of misrepresents it.
Yeah.
And I think that that opening scene is great. The opening scene.
Oh, with the kids at the parking, at the playground.
At the playground. Yeah. Really great. Zavin says no sexual gratuitous. Alan, could you say that?
Gratuitedness.
Sure. Super chats here from KDK7 for 5. I was 12 when I saw Raiders in the theater, and I totally remember the wind blowing Marion's dress against her bush. Yes, but there are ways that you can color time where you can diminish the look of it. KDK7, you are 100% right.
Thanks for the $5 super chat.
Thank you for that. And Nicholas Vargo, hey, Nicholas, for $4.99. You say there hasn't been a good female-centered raunchy comedy. What about Booksmart from a few years ago? Yeah, I thought Booksmart was really good.
Was it raunchy, though?
It wasn't. It was a little raunchy, and I thought it was maybe a little on the wokety side for me.
But I mean, it's not a teen movie, but it harkens back to the teen sex comedy.
That harkens back. But yes, I actually did really like Booksmart. I did really like it. I love No Hard Feelings, so I'll watch Joyride, says Sailor Mercury. We'll come back like next week when we like to hear what you all think. It just opened this weekend, so check it out. FP Sunny says, will non-Asians get the comedy? I don't know.
I don't know, because
I don't know. Will they? I loved it. So there you are. I just think you have to like raunchy comedy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I want to say it's really intelligent, this movie. And so I don't know that white people would get the jokes. And
a few more comments and questions before our first guest joins us. Leo Milano is going to be joining us, the director, in just a few moments. We're going to wrap up these chats. Sailor Mercury says, love the rise of raunchy comedies this year. I think people knew they need to make a return. Razorburn, it would be better if it was raunchy and had flying karate kicks. Jocelyn says, are the characters likable? 100%. 100%. They're all likable, but they're very different. Very different. Mm-hmm. And they're, Patrick Lemire, The Hangover. That could have been a title. Oh no, The Hangover? I don't know. That's great, Patrick Lemire. One Punch Man token fan. I wasn't going to see this movie, but if Chris and Alan recommend it, I will. Hey, it's the best new movie playing in theaters. Sound of Freedom and Joyride, strong recommendation from Film Threat. I'm serious. 2 very different movies, not a double feature.
I know. It's like, because I reviewed both those movies in the same day.
That's funny.
All my Twitter notifications, all the comments, I have to figure out, is this comment about Sound of Freedom or is it about Joyride?
Right. Wop Biscuit says, I care far more whether a film has boobs in it than whether it's woke. I don't know. This movie definitely has sexy women. That's all I'll say. Patrick Lemire, so raunchy comedies are back, but only for girls? No, this is not only for women. Fear the Turtle 21, the trailer calling it out as being the raunchiest comedy since The Hangover is cringe marketing. Look, the marketing isn't the movie always. We have to separate that. But glad to hear it's actually funny. Bridesmaids is another R-rated female-led comedy that I love. And Brock Samsonite says, if I had to choose between Joyride and No Hard Feelings, which one should I go with? Why do you have to choose? See them both.
Yeah.
But Joyride is funnier. And
I would say jokes per minute.
The JPM from Rumble, the nerd far away. Okay, I'll put an unpopular opinion in here. I try to stay away from the raunchy sex stuff and the Mr. Skin stuff in light of it being a part of the trafficking problem. I'm willing to listen to diverse. It's it doesn't feel exploitative. It is all played for laughs. Everything about Joyride is played for laughs, but strong recommendation from both Alan and I. And now we are going to pivot. It's time to pivot as we bring on the director of the Crusades, which is a teen comedy. Leo Milano is joining us on the Film Threat Livecast. Hey, Leo, good to see you, sir.
Howdy, how's it going?
That's good. Yeah. Hey, we're wrapping up. We were talking about Joyride here.
Awesome.
So there we go. Good to see you. We have over 600 people watching us live right now. Tell us about the Crusades.
Crusades is I know you guys are just talking about raunchy, so it's a little bit of raunchy comedy. We're back. 3 boys, all boys private high school. They find out that their school is about to merge with a rival school. So it's the last weekend before it all changes. And yeah, it goes down. It's a comedy that's shot like a drama. Gets pretty intense in the second half of the film. And yeah, it's a wild ride.
Cool. Alan, you had a question.
Yeah.
Early.
Well, I mean, so yeah, where did the idea come about? What, were you trying to make a teen raunchy sex comedy, or it seems to be a little bit of heart in there as well.
Yeah. I think heart's important. I think you need heart. It came around. I mean, this project's taken nearly 12 years to get made, which is wild. But me and my buddies, Sean and Jack, started writing this thing like in 2011. And purely out of the fact that we just loved high school, and that when we met, we went to an all boys high school. And when I started meeting people in college, talking about high school, they like couldn't believe the stories I was telling them. And I didn't think anything of them. So I was like, wow, I guess my experience was a little different than most people's. But when I meet people from, same-sex schools, all boys schools, there's very similar worlds and situations. So I was like, I feel like this is a bit of an untapped demographic, and we decided to pursue it. And we told the story as, truthfully and close. It was really close to home, this project. So yeah, a lot of inspiration from real life.
So I got to ask you, you mentioned it took 12 years to make, and the final product, the production values are pretty incredible. How did it evolve to be able to say, to where it doesn't necessarily look like a traditional indie film, but it seems like you got a nice investment behind it.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. This is a very low budget movie, believe it or not. Very, very, very low budget movie. My executive producers that came in and supported this financially are unbelievable. They've been I've known them for a long time. They've seen my career grow from a lot of short films and sizzles. But truthfully, this was a decade worth of favors I called in. Panavision came through, Cinelise and here in Chicago came through with the best of the lighting packages. Our cinematographer was like my idol at film school. He's one of my best friends. I've known him for 5-6 years now. But we made a lot happen with little. So yeah, it's all about how you utilize the tools. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have a budget at all. So I appreciate you saying that it looks good.
Okay, so I'm pretty impressed then, because this is a good looking film.
Thank you.
And like I said, it we do see a lot of indie films, and the quality of it is just incredible. So a lot of it was it your networking in film school?
I started right out the gate. I was a production assistant on Transformers 3 when I was 18. And then, I live in Chicago. I've stayed here, and production really started rolling through right around 2010. So when I was 18, I was on Transformers 3. That's when I met my producer, Brent Madison. We were stuck in a lockup for 17 hours together, 15 hours. And then I went straight into this show called The Playboy Club, which got canceled on NBC. And then I was a stand-in for Taylor Kinney on Chicago Fire for 2 years. So I'm stuck at the studio. I eventually had an office at the studio called Cinespace. And, just over being there for so many years, it was my second home, and you get to know people. And, I called in every single favor I had for this movie.
So then I got to ask you, if you've had the script for a long time, where, what is that point in which it's like, let's just do this, and then let's let's just move forward and get the ball rolling. And was that pretty scary to wonder, when will that momentum stop before I actually make this movie?
I think if you ask the writers, me and Sean and Jack, I think we never actually thought this film was going to get made. We aimlessly wrote this thing for years. It was supposed to be a TV series. So we just kept writing episodes, and maybe it was just a way for us to hang out. But I would get very mad when these meetings we would just get nothing done in them. We're talking 2014, and we're sitting around on a couch. I'm like, guys, come on, we got to get this going here, blah, blah, blah. It was supposed to be a TV series. No one apparently wants to, give 3 no-name guys show running credits. So I don't blame Hollywood. But I met some people that were like, hey, if you ever, want to make a film, we'll invest in low budget stuff. And I was like, well, I got a horror film I could do. And then after a week, I was like, wait a second. Why make this horror film that I haven't, only a month of connection to? This TV show can easily be turned into a movie. So we literally we just combined all the best stories from the series and made it into a film. But wild journey. Yeah, very, very wild ride for this one.
And then how did you pull your cast together?
Nothing was orthodox about the making of this movie. So we didn't have a casting director. And it was all from friends of friends. My buddy Nick Turturro III, the son to actor Nick Turturro, came on, and he helped get a lot of the main cast. It was just within the industry, there's a lot of cold emails we sent out. Not a great look when a Gmail account comes through a big agent's inbox and it's the director, which doesn't really happen, I don't think, too much. So we got a lot of it was a really hard process. It really was. But once people actually read the script, it was very well received. And that's truthfully how we got our cast, was the script, because I had nothing else to offer these people.
We have a lot of questions from people in the chat. Do you mind if we go to the chat questions?
Yeah,
here we go. Kara says, hello, Leo.
Hi.
And Lubitsch Touch Me asks, were there any classic comedies that inspired you?
I mean, I think Superbad, big time. Superbad's definitely one of those films that I could put it on right now. I'm like, wow, I can't believe they made this movie. It's so ridiculous. And super inspiring, that film.
Cool. And the Nerd Far Away asks, hail, Mr. Milano, what is your criteria for finding a movie that you want to make?
I don't know. I'm interested. Like I said, I started on Transformers 3 as an 18-year-old, and I'm like, I peaked at a $300 million budget. So I think anything that's just fun, cool, and sexy, something that gets you excited and it's a good escape for an hour and a half, that's what I'm interested in.
Cool. And then let's see. James Woolard asks, will the Crusades be getting a UK release? Always up for a raunchy comedy.
I don't know. That's a great question. I would love
to know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've had the same question 100 times too. I really should find that out.
And then Fletcher Williams, I Suck at Games channel. What did you shoot it in?
We shot, well, I think this is the question they're asking. We shot in we had 2 Sony Venices on Panavision C series lenses, I think. Yeah. 2:39 aspect ratio.
Cool. More questions here. Is Nicholas Turturro as cool in person as he seems in the movies? Asks Greasy Guido, who's a member.
Yeah, Nick's the best. Nick he's an absolute veteran, and he's the funniest. You should have saw Nick last night. We had the premiere last night. Party animal, man. Nick's the best. So yeah, nothing but good things to say about him and his family.
I will say this, just knowing, having made some films myself and, worked, I've been on a lot of film sets. I have a lot of friends in the industry. One of the things you really need to have is just fun to chill with. If you're fun to hang out with on 18-hour days under crazy circumstances, especially with indie movies where you don't have the luxury budget, you might not have the best craft services table, or, you gotta be able to hang. It's talent is important, and being able to hang is also an important quality, as someone just working in the industry.
No, I mean, it's huge. Like, you're stuck on set with someone for, whatever it is, 12, 15 hours. And especially in our film, like I think almost every single location didn't have air conditioning. We shot in the summer. We shot during the pandemic. If you don't like these people, this cast has become my friends. Everyone was over until 5 a.m. last night, this morning. But yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, like, it makes it that much better if you're friends with everyone. Because if you're spending 12 hours with someone every single day for a month, like, and you don't like them, that's going to be a pretty crappy month for you.
Absolutely. Question here from Rumble. Dallas24 says, what was it like to design the school uniforms? Were the clothes, colors, and crests inspired by your own alma mater?
Yes, they were, for sure. My high school was green and blue, so I had to bring that back. We actually shot this at my high school, which is crazy to think about. And also worked too, because I was going to do it no matter what. It was going to be green and blue, but the fact that we shot it at my high school, the entire aesthetic of the high school is green and blue. So like, it really all played in. But we had so much fun filming this thing, or at least coming up with designs for this. Like I said, we made designs for this, I don't even know, 8 years ago for a pilot we did on YouTube. And we haven't touched them. They stayed the exact same 9 years later.
That's great. Another question from Greasy Guido. Wow. Shot with no AC. Where was this shot?
We filmed this Niles, Illinois. My high school was Notre Dame College Prep. Apparently they do have air conditioning now. So I'm very happy for them. Very happy for them. But yeah, it could have came 2 years earlier. That would have been nice.
Right. And last question here. Really good final question. Solomon Thornton, any advice for beginning filmmakers?
Great question. I think don't give up. I think everything's going to pan out if you dedicate enough time to something. I like to think that the last man standing wins. So if you try hard enough at something, I think it could happen. It might happen tomorrow, or it might happen in 10 years, but I think if you stick to it, it'll happen.
I was going to say, like, just hearing your story, the one thing you didn't do was quit.
We should have. Yeah, we definitely should have quit 100 times. I mean, this project had no traction. Like, we would get one email and be like, oh my gosh, we're going to make it. This is it. Nothing ever led to those emails. Like, and then we'd be like the lowest of low, like, wow, we should really stop writing, but we didn't. A lot of that's to my parents. They just wouldn't let me quit. They really believed in the project. And I tried to quit, but yeah, my people in my corner wouldn't let me. So I'm very grateful for them.
Your experience just keeps reminding me of Bowfinger.
Oh yeah.
A lot of scrapping and a lot of, I like I said, I'm just really impressed with how the final product turned out.
Thank you.
Just knowing now what I know about the production of this.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. Hopefully my next film isn't this hard. This is a very hard one for me, but I wouldn't change it. I think you only get one first film, and I understood that going into it, that this is going to be a very difficult. I mean, even up to the world premiere last night, right? Like, it was just 16-hour days planning this thing, and I was like, I don't think I'll have to do this again, so I'm just going to go all out right now and enjoy the fact that this is an indie film, and I'm lucky that it's getting released. So
cool. And real quick, last question that came in: how long was post?
So we shot it in 17 days, and then post was like, I don't know, never ended. 2 years.
Yeah, that's kind of normal for an indie. Post can take a long time. Yeah. And then where can people see it?
Okay, so it's in select theaters right now. If you're in Chicago, it's at the Pickwick. It's at the Lemley in Glendale in LA. It's at a few other states. But Amazon, Vudu, iTunes, Xfinity. Go see it.
Awesome. Leo, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. Congratulations on the film.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here.
Take care. Later. That was great. That was awesome. Let's go. We have another chat question here before our next guest joins us. So let me pivot to that. Here we go. Let's see. Comment here from Mike Wait. Sends in $10 for super chat. Says, I can't wait to see Sound of Freedom tonight. Thank you for your heartfelt review. Do you think Michael Jackson's We Are the Children would be a good music video for it? I don't know. I don't know.
Sure, why not?
There's a laughing laughing with tears, a thinking emoji, and a winking emoji following that comment. I think that comment was made in jest from Mike, but I will say this. I went to my movie meetup group yesterday. We all saw Insidious, and after we saw Insidious, we were still talking about Sound of Freedom. Literally, we got together with everybody. We were talking about Sound of Freedom. We saw Insidious, and it was like we walked out. It was like, yeah, that wasn't that great. And then we just kept talking about Sound of Freedom again. So it really had an incredible impact on people as well. Sailor Mercury says, "Great interview." Well, thank you for that. We appreciate it. But
I mean, I got to say, it's like. I went to the Oak Cliff Film Festival. I was just at Dance with Films, and I'm starting to think that making a movie now is not as difficult as it was in the past. The challenge today is the distribution, and we'll probably want to talk about that at some future date. But it seems like everyone is getting either screwed or unnoticed when it comes down to distribution.
Well, Solomon Thornton, this is why I love Film Threat. It is a film school for me. Chris Allen and chat, I salute you. Well, thank you, Solomon Thornton. We always appreciate your insightful questions. And Kara says, how is it possible that the guests here are all nice, humble people who just not sound like most current Hollywood filmmakers? Can I just say why? Because they're not Hollywood filmmakers. These are indie filmmakers, and indie filmmakers are much more humble. They've been through struggle. And as you pointed out, Alan, distribution. And I'm going to promise you this: when Attack of the Doc comes out, I'm going to do a watch party for the movie. This will be sometime in August. So most people have either seen the film or have had a chance to purchase the film on video on demand, or they've been able to purchase it, the Blu-ray. We're going to do a watch party, and I'm going to go through. I'm going to get people who worked on the movie. We'll get people from the old G4, and we're going to talk about it and discuss it. And I'm going to just tell you straight up like how the movie was made. So we'll do a watch party for the movie. I'll do a Q&A after. Maybe Alan, you'll be a part of it. This will be in August, and we'll probably do it on a Tuesday. And I'm here to announce before our guest shows up, there's a Biosphere review that just hit the website, the Film Threat website. I just got a notification of it. I am bringing back DV Tuesday on the Film Threat YouTube channel. So I recorded all of these new episodes of DV Tuesday just from my personal collection, and starting the first week or so of August, running through the end of the year on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're going to be doing episodes. So it's really just me mining my personal collection and telling you about some of my prized DVDs and laser discs. But without further ado, we have our next special guest today joining us. She is the director of Biosphere, which is an indie sci-fi, I would also say comedy as well. It is humorous. It stars Sterling K. Brown, a phenomenal actor, and Mark Duplass, who is a filmmaker, actor. You've seen him in The Morning Show. And this film is about two men after an apocalypse, which we don't get a lot of details about, but there has been a cataclysmic event on Earth that has forced these two men to live in a biodome together. That is a biodome that it's self-sustaining to a point. And an insane event occurs with the two men. And I'm almost loath to tell you what it is because I haven't seen the trailer. I've seen the movie. I've not seen the trailer.
Yeah, let the director decide if we.
Let's bring on the director. Mel Eslyn is here, and Mel, great to see you. Thank you.
Hi guys.
On the show. How's it going?
Hi, good. Chris, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you as well. Congratulations.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I'll do it.
Let's put her full screen.
Yeah, I got it.
I just want to say, like last time, and just like I know Mel. She's awesome. She's worked with the Duplass brothers. She's been involved in great independent films. Is this your directorial debut?
It is, yeah, feature directorial debut.
Congratulations. And that documentary we were talking about years ago, I've made it.
You did?
It's done. I'm gonna submit to Sundance.
Oh, I cannot wait.
So we'll see. But today, the film is out today. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. Theaters and on demand today.
Love it. So first, I love indie sci-fi. I love indie sci-fi because you can go deeper layers. You can take the time, and you couldn't have had two better actors. The chemistry between Sterling and Mark. Oh my God. And I just and also I love Mark because he can play so many different, like the Creep series.
Yeah.
I have all those films. He's so good. Tell us what led to this project. And I'm also there's a twist about a third of the way in the movie. I'm kind of hesitant to reveal it.
Yeah, dude. I don't want to reveal it. I'm so lucky that this indie film is in theaters. So I love that. I want to preserve that. I want to get everybody out in the theater, not know what it's about, have this authentic experience. Because I've been seeing it in theaters with audiences leading up to the release. And it's kind of magic what happens when people go in blind. I love it. So trying to hold on to that as long as I can.
Well, I didn't watch the trailer. I watched it blind, and you got me. So
yeah.
You got me. But what I love about it reminds me of science fiction. I'm not going to say it's like a Twilight Zone. It's different than a Twilight Zone, but I like the sort of smallness of it where it all takes place in the biodome. There are locations in the biodome. There's a pond with fish that provides sustenance to our lead characters. There's a little bit of a glimpse, but not too much detail about a backstory of their relationship and how they know each other, and maybe some guilt about this cataclysm, but it's not fully revealed, and I love that. I think we almost over-explain things to audience sometimes. But what led to this story and coming up with the idea of the script and getting Sterling and Mark to basically be in a dome to make this film?
Yeah, no, it's I've been running Duplass for almost 10 years now. And never planned to. I never wanted to run a company. I called Mark Duplass the detour that I accidentally took, because I was I'm going to be a director, writer, heading on that path. And then I met Mark, and here we are. And I still hadn't made my feature film, and was coming up on, I'll be 40 in a month. And I was shit, I got to make my first feature before I turn 40. So it's gone on too long. And so Mark would pitch me ideas, and Mark pitches these I call them his kernels, where they're these amazing kernels, but they're never fully formed. And so he threw some things at me, and at some point this was the one that stuck, where I was I feel it in my gut. I see the things I can do with this. I'm going to take it to a place he wouldn't in many ways, and expand upon some themes. And I wish I could tell you all the themes, but I will say as it being the last two men on Earth and being men, I was I want to dig into that and explore that, and as a woman, what that means and what I can do with them.
So Mark was involved in the story ideation then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He did pitch me Last Men on Earth in this biosphere. X, Y, and Z could happen. I don't know how. And I was all right, I'm going to do some research. I'm a huge science nerd, and read a bunch of stuff and figured out how to make it all plausible, which I love indie science fiction too, because I think there's you can even push more boundaries and rules, and you're not worried about, somebody else's bigger budget coming in and holding you to these restrictions. So I was I want to go crazy. I want to push boundaries. I want to give some science that is plausible to get the audience on board. And then I'm going to go crazy and just hope they stop thinking about what's real and what's not.
Well, I have to say, I've done the fish experiment, and it works. It actually happened.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we got babies out of that one.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
But I do like how, first of all, and I like that you keep it kind of low tech, even though you built a dome. There is a dome that exists, and there's a, I don't want to ruin stuff, but there is a looming threat from outside. We don't know what, something's going on. But how did you where did you shoot this, or did you just build it?
Yeah. No, we shot it in a stage in Glendale, and just basically built the dome out. Obviously, like there were certain parts, like some of the roof I had to do in VFX. But just I wanted it to feel like we were all trapped in the dome. And sometimes technically we were, because I have a couple shots where I'm like, I want to see the world. And so we would get locked in and it would be like, you know, last call for pee, and we're in here for the next hour. Let's do this.
We've got like 500 people watching us live.
Yeah, I should probably mention the biggest question. So how much did you steal from Biodome? That seems like a
People are
question.
joking in the chat.
Okay, here's the deal. Mark and I watched it with this, like, let's just make sure we're not doing anything that we forgot was in Biodome. And it has nothing to do with it. Although I did name, you have to make a company every time you make a film. And I did name a company Biodome 2 with a TOO, which was like Mark and I's joke. If we were going to name it anything other than Biosphere, we'd call it Biodome 2 with the TOO. I mean, I love Biodome, and it's going to stay what it is. And I didn't want to touch that territory.
Well, then that answers that question. Is that a sequel to Biodome? No, it's not. From Retribution Zero, but we have
it's just one of 100 questions like that.
Yeah, we've got like 500 people watching us live. So do you mind if we go to chat questions?
Yeah.
Here we go. Says Patrick Lemire says, "Over the Edge, nice."
Oh yeah. Well, it was Film Threat. I'm like, I like dug and was like, what movie do I wear?
That's great. And Not Pitboy Gamer says, "Hail Mel." So there you are.
All right.
The Nerd Far Away says, "Hail Mel, how much say do you have when casting? How much say do you want when casting?" I mean, obviously Mark was involved, but how'd you get Sterling involved? Sterling came out.
What's crazy is when I write, I always have to think of an actor, knowing that it's like never going to be that actor in the long run, but I want to make him a full human as I'm putting it together. Sterling was the person that I wrote all this dialogue for with his voice in my head. Mark and I from the start were like, that would be the dream. I have all the say in casting, which is amazing. And like sent it to Sterling being like, there's no chance in hell this is happening, but you got to try and dream. And then he read it overnight, which also never happens. And he called me while driving a vehicle, like holding the phone, just being like, let's do this when I'm ready. I was almost just going to say a spoiler and I had to hold it back. The first thing he said was a spoiler. So I can't say what he said when I got on the phone, but
what were the character development conversations like with Sterling?
I mean, what I loved is Sterling has such a different perspective. I've got Mark and me who have very different perspectives, male versus female. And then I had Sterling come in, who's a Black man. And he's like, I have a whole nother world that I come from that you guys could never understand. So he's like, let me add this. And he kind of fully formed his character based on the bit that we had on the page. And just kind of anybody who's seen that dude, I'm like, I trust you, make this what you want. And I hadn't really seen much comedy from him, but I was like, I know this dude is going to be so funny. And he fucking was, which is amazing, but just kind of gave that to him and said, let it rip.
Cool. And let's see, more questions here. Greasy Guido asks, did you do any research on how a biosphere would function or just wing it?
No, I totally did. Yeah. I read all about the true what is it called? Biosphere 2, like the real one that they did, and read everybody's biographies who was in that biosphere. I looked into like how people survive in space to just figure out like what are the things that I should put in here. If anybody wants to tear me down, they'd be like, all right, well, she at least has like the radioisotope machine or whatever it was. I did enough, I think, hopefully.
Cool. And then Solomon Thornton asks, how long was principal photography and any advice?
For sure. I think we shot in like 15 days, which the shortest film I've ever shot was Blue Jay, which was supposed to be 8, and we wrapped 7.5 days in. And my advice is always 2 characters, 1 location. If you really want to make a film and not be stopped and be kinder. And as a first-time feature director, I was like, I'm going to be kind to myself and have these restrictions and just be able to like push boundaries within this contained box.
I actually think that restrictions for an indie filmmaker are a strength. You're not
Yep.
you're not like a big Hollywood film solving problems with money. I think that's where Hollywood, particularly recently, CGI has been so overused and it looks
Agree.
bad and it turns audiences off because it's not real. I don't think, if I recall watching your film, I don't think there are any digital effects, maybe some lighting effects. I mean, maybe there were, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or the, space
Yeah,
shots.
there are. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
there
there are.
actually are quite a bit, but like we keep it so lo-fi. I feel like if you keep it lo-fi, people are going to pick it apart less than, you know, the big world building you'll do in the bigger films.
Yeah, well, I didn't notice it, so good on
That's a good
you.
thing. Yeah.
Well, there are a lot of directors, like Christopher Nolan famously doesn't like to use digital effects unless there's no other way to, you know, to make that effect. More
Mhm.
questions here. Brock Samsonite asked, was it hard to get funding for this project?
I feel bad saying this, but no, because Mark and I wanted to do this so bad. So what we did was we were like, Mark, go make the morning show and let's just take everything you make from that big ass show and put it into this movie we love. And it was that simple. Like I make Mark and Jay go off and make big shit so I can use their money to make the things that we want to make, the indie stuff.
Well, you've been responsible, you and your whole team and everyone there have been responsible for so many like amazing indie films and television series.
Thanks, dude.
And oh my God, what was the series? I can't believe I can't think of the name right now, where they do Dune the musical. What was that?
Togetherness.
Togetherness.
Yeah.
This show was on HBO Max. Hopefully it's still on Max. Togetherness is this limited series about relationships. Great, sort of, you know, a lot of themes from indies, but in it they make Dune the musical. It is absolutely epic. It is so fun. I mean, like I've just always admired the philosophy of the films you make at your company, and I would recommend just to everyone watching right now. God, Mark did this great video where he talked about the vomit draft. His philosophy of doing a script. He will dictate a script into his phone and he calls it the vomit draft. I think that was, I learned that from Togetherness, where he just gets out all the ideas and then goes and like, you know, makes it a real script.
100%. You know, he vomits to me and then I get the half vomit pile and then I have to be like, let's make this into something.
Oh, that's great. And then he gave a speech, I'll never forget it, at the 2016 South by Southwest, I believe. It was the keynote speech. And the key takeaway from that speech is the cavalry isn't coming.
Yeah.
No one's going to help you.
So true. Just make something with whatever you've got.
Yeah. I mean, I still am such a fan of the puffy chair. I mean, that movie, that was their first, I don't know if it was their first feature. But
there was a feature that is buried and we never speak of. So yes, let's say it was the puffy chair.
I love that film. Anyways, back to more questions.
Yeah, I gotta ask you, what's up with the music?
Oh my God, dude! So there's these composers, Danny Bensi and Saundra Jurgens, who I had met on the film The One I Love, and they are phenomenal. They did Ozark. Just like old friends that I trust. And that was the one thing I was like, I don't know what the hell to do with this. I send them a bunch of my temp music and Saundra just like within like a day sent me something back that was just him singing. And I was like, let's go with this. Like no instruments. Let's just do the voices. We've got two dudes in this biosphere. Let's make it feel like hearing other human voices expands the world a little bit.
That stands out the moment the movie starts.
Greasy Guido has a question. If you could only bring one movie into your biodome, what would it be?
No, I can't do that. I really can't. I don't know. This is so obscure, but I just rewatched Todd Rohal's The Catechism Cataclysm last night because I'm going to talk about it in another podcast because it's one of my favorites. It's this indie film that is so underrated, but the funniest thing ever. Highly recommend people watch that. I would be fine with that, but like that's really tough. It's really tough.
Yeah. Well, this is not a movie I would bring in the dome, but one of my favorite indie movies nobody's heard of is I Am a Sex Addict by Kaveh Zahidi. And ask Jay about that.
Okay.
Jay, I know he's a big fan of that film, and it's really low tech made. It's sort of a hybrid documentary, romantic comedy, personal story. Kaveh Zahidi's just a bizarre more of an underground filmmaker than an indie filmmaker. But yeah, I am a sex addict. Ask Jay next time you see Jay.
Okay, all right, I will.
And tell him I said hi. A few more questions. I know you got to go in 2 minutes, but hopefully a few more questions we can get in.
Yeah.
The Introspect M, how much use of special effects are in the movie? Were they practical or CGI?
There are definitely lots of practical. If I can go practical, I will. So we got super creative on set with practicals. And then really like CGI was just finishing some of the dome up top. I don't want to give it away, but there is one scene that I needed. I didn't want to hurt an animal, so I had to CGI a little bit there. But that might have been it. And then it's like hiding the sides that somebody left in the background, like boring CGI stuff.
Another question from Lubitsch touched me. For your next film, is there a story you would like to adapt, or do you have an original idea you'd like to develop?
I have many in both categories. I'm not going to tell you what I want to adapt because I don't want somebody to take them before I have a chance. But I already shot something that Mark and I created that's in the can. So I do have the next thing already done. But yeah, I want to do a lot more in the science fiction zone.
I love indie sci-fi because you can go deep. You can, something that would be like a side plot in an episode of Star Trek, you can fully explore and get into the science of it, which your film does. From Rumble, A.Dallas24, I must ask, is there any news about Creep 3 as we produce the sequel?
So, yes, but it's not what you think it's going to be, is all I can say. There is more in the Creep world coming.
Okay, I love the Creep films. They're underrated. They're super intense. It has sort of a you are there, like you're. So there's a sort of a story excuse to like why they're filming everything, and then Mark, the way Mark plays it, because Mark is, likable.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's likable. Like in any movie you see him, oh, I like that guy. In Creep. In the Creep films, he uses that, and it's awesome.
It's about to get creepier, is all I will say. And no, the Creep world will never die. It's like Patrick and Mark are not going to let that die.
Good, because I love those films. I bought them on Vudu. So there you go. And one last question. I'm sorry, we're out of time. Mel's got to go. But Brock Samsonite is, how often do you find outtakes while editing? Do you have a favorite outtake?
I can't say the outtakes from this film because they're major spoilers.
You don't. Please don't.
No, they usually... I mean, the one I can tell you is that, and I feel comfortable saying this because Mark's like my brother, but he farts all the time and they're silent and deadly and everybody acts like they've never happened. And on the set one day in Biosphere, we're literally rolling and he like throws a ball and the fart comes out and it's loud and nobody reacted. And I couldn't, I would just start laughing hysterically. And I'm like, how are we all going to pretend this didn't happen? I'm fine ruining the take for this. Like somebody has to call this dude out at some point. So that was one outtake.
Well, it's look, I think I'll just say this. I think farts are funny. I think maybe always funny. You should have left it in the film, perhaps. I don't know. But
farts and projectile vomit. Never enough.
But thank you, Mel, for being on the show today. Really appreciate it. Congratulations on Biosphere.
Thanks.
And it is in theaters now. It's playing in Glendale. Look it up. And it's also on video on demand this weekend, next weekend.
Yeah, this week, like right now. And we're in 60 theaters too. So definitely try and check it out if you can.
Awesome.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Congrats, Mel. Always love anything that's Duplass related. Always a fan. So thank you. All right, take care. Appreciate it.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. That was great. Mel, she's good people. She's indie to me, indie royalty. And there you go. Wait, we can't get this right, Alan.
Yeah, I know. You're the one. Hey, you're supposed to help me out. You're supposed to.
Yeah. Come on, help me out, Alan. Help me out. All right. That's gonna wrap it up for us today.
I have to say, I did do the fish experiment, and it actually happened. And we
we can't say what the fish experiment is because
But if you know
major
anything
spoiler
about
in the
fish,
movie.
you figure it out.
Yeah. But no, Mel, I'm just gonna tell you all. Years ago, because the Duplass brothers are fans of Film Threat. I met Mark Duplass like in 2006 at the South by Southwest Film Festival, and he met me. He's like, I was going to interview him for some movie, and he's like, Chris Gore, you wrote the film festival book. You do Film Threat. He kind of derailed the interview because he was a fan of Film Threat. Years later, I met with Mel at her company about the Film Threat Sucks documentary. At the time, we were going to do kind of a bigger budget version of it, and we talked about doing it. The pandemic happened, whatever. We ended up it didn't happen with Mel, but the Film Threat Sucks documentary, which I've talked about a few times on the show, it is nearly complete. And Mel is a fan of Film Threat, knows Film Threat, along with Jay Duplass, who was also involved in the project. And it's one of those things like Leo, our filmmaker who was here earlier, you mainly have to just never give up. And this Film Threat documentary I've been working on for over a decade, and it's gone through different filmmakers, different companies, and finally over the pandemic, just bonded with a really great filmmaker named Ethan Minsker, who put together a raw, down and dirty, underground, cool. I can't wait for you to see Film Threat Sucks in probably a year. But that's how I know Mel. It's weird because I'll talk to friends and it's like I pop up. Someone was saying you're like the Zelig of indie film because I just know people. Mm-hmm. It's just from being around. Like I've been going to Sundance since '96, right? So I've been going to film festivals since the '80s. The Toronto Film Festival, like the Toronto International Festival of Festivals, as it was called, TIFF. But I've just been around, so I do know a lot of people in the industry, or if I don't know them, oftentimes they know me, which is awkward and weird for me. But people in indie film are not full of crap. They're not filled with a lot of ego. You're making movies with no budget, not a lot of money, and it's humbling. It's humbling. So a lot of the people that you meet in indie film, they're just cooler. They're just like they don't come with airs. Let's just say that. So
and then going back to the Hollywood question, I firmly believe, I don't know that you want to go into Hollywood, and I don't think you want to make a Hollywood movie.
I don't want to go to Hollywood. Like look, I have worked for entertainment companies. Okay, I have worked, and I've been on big film sets. I've worked for Comcast, Universal, FX, Stars Channel. Like I've done shows. You can look me up on IMDb. I've been in about 15, almost 20 documentaries now. Like I pop up, but I did never. I'm not. Hollywood just seems stifling. Just seems really stifling for me. So I don't want to work in Hollywood. I want to make
it will destroy you. It will literally destroy you.
Well, you see how it like drives people crazy, or they're hot and make a lot of money and then can't get work. It's an industry that chews you up and spits you out. I want no part of it.
And also, you won't be able to tell your story. It will be their story, and they own that story now.
And money is practically one of the creatives that's involved. It just is. But that's why I think that like the limitations of indie film is a good thing. Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing. Imperfect says Chris Gore is kind of a big deal. Imperfect, I don't know if I agree with that, but I'll take it. But thank you. And then Alan Horkin says, never give up unless you're making Rings of Power, in which case, please give up already. I think we're going to leave it there on that. I love it. So, Alan, what do you have coming up this weekend?
Yeah. I was going to say, thank you for getting us over 1,000 on the Film Threat interviews channel.
Yes, thank you.
And I just wanted to show my gratuitousness for that.
Are you, Alan? What are you saying? Oh my God! All right, all right.
Are you gonna play it? Is then?
Yeah. So, okay. How would you define exploitation, Alan?
Exploitation? Gratuitousness.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Next week, court is in session, Wednesday, July 12th. We will also return on Friday, the 14th, with more film reviews, interviews with filmmakers, and a lot of fun. This weekend, you know what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to watch movies. I'm going to a pool party to watch some movies. I'm going to go to the theater. I'm going to watch some more movies. You know what I'm going to do? I'm probably going to watch movies on my television. Alan, what are you up to?
I'm probably going to watch movies as well. I've got a pretty clean weekend here. So
we do. All right. Well, you and our plans intersect. Alan, what do you got to say?
Let's get out of here.